Hello and welcome to Todd Talk, where insight meets inspiration. I'm your host, Todd Hiller. I'm an author, speaker, and longtime community leader, here to guide you on a journey towards fulfillment and balance. In every episode, we'll explore ways to fill life's emptiness, helping you uncover practical tools to create harmony, purpose, and happiness. Whether it's thriving in your career, nurturing personal growth, or simply finding joy in the everyday, Todd Talk is your space for real conversations and actionable advice. So let's thrive together, personally, professionally, and beyond. This is Todd Talk, and I'm thrilled to have you here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Todd Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I want you to just sit back and enjoy the conversation we're about to have. Imagine yourself or get yourself a cup of coffee, and just imagine we're going to sit together and have a conversation about something that happened to me in my life recently. Friday morning it happened, and also talk about the bigger message there and what it made me think of. So Friday morning I was on a TikTok live stream like I am most Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, and someone came in with an unkind comment that actually posed a question as a follow-up from another follower. So with everything crazy that's going on in the world, someone said, "Oh, you seem so happy, you must be a crazy liberal." And so I stopped and shut that conversation right down because I said, listen, my live is not a political space. It's a place for positivity. It's a place for reflection, a place to hang out and have a lot of fun, but it's not a place to go down any ugly rabbit holes. So before I could even mute or block this person, my fellow followers and my TikTok followers and my viewers jumped all over him and were like, listen, none of that here. Leave the negativity at home. Like, you can certainly ask a question or pose a comment. That's fine. But, like, knock it off. Todd's space is super positive, and he's just a happy person who brings us a whole boatload of positivity every day, and that's why we like him so much and like being here. And so it did two things to me. It made me have two thoughts. One, what do we do when that kind of nastiness shows up, when that kind of unwanted and unnecessary and unkind comment shows up? And also, the question that followed that, one of my other viewers was like, listen, no disrespect, I'm new here, but you are really happy and really positive. Why are you so happy? And how are you so happy? And it really got me thinking, because at first, I didn't have a quick answer at first. I mean, well, I was like, it's a long answer. It's not something I can just answer with a quick bullet point. But it made me stop and think, why am I happy? And it made me think of all the reasons I'm happy. And even more than that, how can I explain to others the reasons, and also maybe some ways they can find happiness themselves if they seem to be lacking it. So this episode is not about being perfectly happy all the time, because everybody has bad days. Every day is not a good day, but there is good in every day. This is not about being perfectly happy all the time. I do not live in a fairy tale world where I think that no bad things ever happen. But this episode is about choosing joy and choosing perspective in the moment when it comes to your life and the people around you. And right up front, I fully acknowledge the reality that not everyone is wired the same, and not everyone is wired like me. Not every person is wired for happiness. Not everybody's brain chemicals are the same as mine. Like, I fully understand that. I acknowledge that. I appreciate that. The fact that we are all different is what makes the world beautiful. However, when it comes to what you focus on and it comes to your perspective on things, that is something you can change and shift with a little bit of work. So look, if you guys know me, if you listen to me, if you know me in person, if you're a friend of mine, you know that I'm a pretty upbeat person. I have lots of energy first thing in the morning. I like to hit the ground running. I love coffee. That's my fuel, but I don't always need the coffee to wake up and be happy. That's just kind of the way things go. But I also fully acknowledge that even I have days that aren't great. I get sad, I get lonely, I get upset, I get worried, I get all kinds of things because I am a human, and having emotions is part of being human, and being human is what makes things really beautiful. But happiness is possible for everyone, but it may look a little different depending on your personality, your circumstances, and your mindset. So I know not every single person is like me, but every single person can find ways to be happy if you set out and look for them. And yes, I know, it's not about ignoring pain or hardship. I get that. I know some of you right now are walking through things that are impossibly difficult, that are so incredibly overwhelming that you just want to break down and sit down and cry. I get that. I acknowledge that. And I feel I'm sending you all the positive energy I can to get through those. But even amongst the pain and even amongst the hardship, if you put your focus on the right things, you can help move the needle just a little bit. And sometimes a little bit is all it takes. I remember asking a friend of mine, I asked his grandmother one day at a party. She was, at the time, she was probably 88 or 90 years old. And she said, "How are you, honey?" And I said, "I'm fantastic. How are you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm good." And she said, "I'm glad you didn't say you were stressed." And at this time, I was probably, I don't know how old I was, maybe 25, 28 years old. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, "Well, I'm glad you didn't say you were stressed." And I said, "Well, okay, tell me why." And she said, "I hear so many people your age talking about stress, and they're stressed and they're so upset." And she said, "Honey," she said, "me and my husband," she said, "we ran this dairy farm by ourselves." She said, "just the two of us for more than 40 years. She said, "We milked 40 cows by hand." She said, "We made 1,000 bales of hay every year." She said, "There was nobody to help us but me and him." She said, "We had kids, but there was time when they were babies and they couldn't help pick up hay and they couldn't help milk cows." And she said, "Every one of my kids, as they got older, they all used to bring one or two friends over. So instead of me having to feed 5 kids," she said, "some days I had to feed 10. And she said, "But I never got stressed. I never worried." She said, "I was so happy to be alive." And the reason I'm talking fast is so you can get her in your brain, because she was this firecracker of a woman. She was so fantastic. But she said, "I'll never understand this younger generation and all your stress." She said, "I'll never get it." She said, "I got sick." And she said her husband's name was Bernie. And Bernie got sick. She said, "And we both got over it. There were times where neither one of us felt good." And she said, "There were times where our friends died and our friends passed away and people we knew got hurt." She said, "And even our own kids got hurt." She said, "But gosh, honey, why would you be stressed when you have such a beautiful life to live?" She said, "There are things right in front of you that make the day go by and that make you super happy." She said, "You don't have to worry about them. You just have to go out there and do them." And I thought so long and so hard about this back then, and I still think about her now. She has since passed away. She lived to be 100 years old. She was a fantastic woman. And her entire life, she had the innate ability to focus on the things that were joyful about her life, even though it was busy and tough. And I mean, this woman, I'm talking, she was raising her kids in the 50s and 60s when back then, sometimes it was hard to find food, and they were farmers by trade. And we all know that dairy farming wasn't an industry that made you wealthy by any means. But she always had food on the table, and she always focused on the laughter of all those kids at the table, not that there were 5 extra kids to feed in addition to 5 of her own. She focused on the fact that they were able to own enough property to make 1,000 bales of their own hay to feed their own cows, instead of the fact that they had to do it all by themselves and it was hard work. And so focus and perspective can bring you so many beautiful things. And I was reminded of that this morning in the live, or Friday morning in the live. And I was reminded of it in a way that made me take a step back and try to find ways to help people and give this ability to them, because this woman, my friend's grandmother, helped me so much with perspective back then. And I want to see if I can pass that on to you all as well. And so what I gleaned from that all those years ago, and actually what I have done for a very long time, even before I had that conversation with my friend's grandmother, was I find something to look forward to every single day, big or small. I find something that I can focus on and point to and have that bring me happiness and joy. When I was a kid, way younger than the grandmother conversation, when I was probably 10 years old, or maybe even younger, maybe like 8 years old, there was a show on Saturday nights that we used to all sit down and watch as a family. And I'm not going to tell you what it is and date myself, but it was a good show. I guarantee some of you listening also watched it. It was on CBS, and my mom loved the show. But my dad was always busy working, and once he got home from his day job, he was out doing farm chores, and my mom was busy at her day job, and once she got home from her day job, she was cooking dinner for the whole family and doing dishes and taking care of my brother and I and kicking us in the butt to make sure we did our homework. And so they were both super busy, but on Saturday nights when there was no day job and there was no homework because it wasn't a school night, we had this time as a family where we could sit down and we would all watch the same show. Mom, Dad, my brother, and I, all in the living room, all at the same time. I would help my mom with the dishes. I would hurry through them to make sure we could get done and make sure we were done with the dishes so we could all go in the living room and sit down and watch this show together. And I realized it wasn't necessarily the show that I liked so much, because I was like an 8 or 9 year old kid. I mean, it was a good show, I guess, but that wasn't what excited me. What excited me was the chance to come together with my family all together at the same time and just be. Just be a family unit. Just be together as a family. And that is what I focused on. And the thought would hit me. I'd be busy playing, at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. I'd be outside doing stuff with my dad, helping him with farm chores or with the cows or whatever. And all of a sudden, click, it would hit me that today was Saturday. And tonight, that night after dinner, we would all get to sit down. And it would literally make me so happy and so excited that I would jump up and down. And I would get this feeling in my chest that made my heart flutter. And it was so exciting. And so I want you to realize and remember, even as adults, we can find things, big or small, that we can look forward to every single day. Now, when I was a kid, that's a pretty big example because it made me overwhelmingly happy as an 8 or 9-year-old. And that overwhelmingly happy feeling still hits me today as an adult, even though I'm a lot older than 8 or 9 now. But I still get that feeling. The thought of talking to my favorite person lights me right up. Oh my gosh, I get to talk to this person today. Something big like that is big and overwhelming. But there's little things too. Oh my God, I made myself a cup of coffee. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. It's nice weather. I'm going to go be able to sit on my porch and have my coffee. That's something to look forward to. Talking to a friend, talking to a relative, seeing a colleague that you're going to work with, but maybe you only see them once a week or once a month because you don't have the same work schedules. A good meal, someone is going to make you your favorite thing, or you're saying Friday night we're getting pizza for the kids and I love takeout night. Whatever it is, find something every single day to look forward to. And it will bring you joy, and it will bring you joy measurably in the way that it reflects what you feel about that thing you're looking forward to in the grand scheme of the rest of your day. So if you're not having a great day and you find something that you can look forward to, it will move the needle just a little bit. It will make you smile. Oh gosh, you know what? It's been super rough morning. It's definitely been a Monday, but later on I get to see my favorite person, or later on I get to talk to my favorite person, or later on I get to get takeout or get pizza or sushi for lunch. Well, I don't care what it is. But if you're having a good day, you can still find those things to look forward to, and then it will move the needle a lot, and you'll say, oh man, my good mood just got multiplied even more. I have a new coffee to try, a new tea to try, whatever it is. A new neighbor moved in, and I get to greet them and say hello. We're taking a trip soon. Today's the last day of work before we leave for vacation. Find those little things that are interwoven and interspaced in amongst the busy and the crazy and the stressful, and focus on those, because it gives our minds a reason to anticipate joy no matter what else is happening. It gives our minds a direct line, woof, through all the noise, through all the chaos, through all the stress. It's a direct line to joy, to that one thing that's going to make us happy. So a lot of times when something crazy is happening or something overwhelming is happening, it's really hard to kind of wade through all that and find your way back to being happy or joyful. But if you find that one thing to focus on, you have a beeline, a direct connection right to that joyful moment, right to that joyful thing. And that's what happened with me with that TV show. No matter what was going on, even if I was having a tough day as a little kid, because sometimes you have tough days when you're 8 or 9. Granted, it's usually not that big of a deal, but listen, it still happens. Even if that was the case, even if I was bummed out because my dad left to go do farm chores without me, or even if I was bummed out because my dad went to work a side job and he wasn't home, so I couldn't help him with farm chores and help him be outside, I knew that later on that night, that was the routine, man. I had that direct line. You know what? Listen, you're having a bad day as a 9-year-old, but later on, it is Saturday. Later on is TV show night. And listen, it was only like a half-hour TV show. So in the grand scheme of things, it didn't actually take up a lot of time either. So it can be big or small still, no matter timing or whatever it is. Time-wise, it doesn't have to say you're going to spend 5 hours on it. But that was my direct path to joy. That was how I got super happy, even if I was having a rough day as an 8-year-old. And so if this is something that's resonating with you and you're like, oh man, I could definitely use that strategy, remember that your mindset shift should look like this. Gratitude and perspective can carry you through a lot of difficulty. And I've learned this in lots of different ways with interactions with different people and good and bad situations, all around. So I want you to make gratitude a practice. I don't want gratitude to be something that just passes through your life every once in a while. I want you to make it a practice. I want you to be grateful for the little things that we often take for granted. If there's someone you talk to every day, that you text every day, that you call every day, that you see in person and talk to every day, don't take that for granted. Be grateful for them and be thankful for them. And I'm hugely grateful in my life for the people I get to talk to and the people I get to spend time with and the people I get to bounce ideas off of and, have that person right there to talk to. I'm super grateful that my parents live close enough that I can call them up and say, hey, I want to come over and visit and just drive there in a couple minutes. That's super easy to take for granted. I live 2 miles from my dad and 1.5 miles from my mom and my stepfather. That's very easily taken for granted because it's just a routine. That's just where we live. It's just the norm. It's where our houses are. But I'm always grateful for the fact that they are so close, that if I need help with the kids, I can say, hey, Mom, can the kids come over? We got stuff to do, but I got to drop one off with you and get the other ones like somewhere else. I'm so grateful for that all the time. And so that mindset shift, that gratitude being in the forefront of your brain is one way you can make sure you are always finding things to focus on that do have that kind of tug at you to bring you to that joyful place, to bring you to that Saturday night TV show place. And look, I also want you to frame happiness so it's not an accident, right? Some people go through their day and their lives and they think, oh, well, that's great. I'm having a bad Monday. Oh, well, I was happy for 5 minutes. That's fantastic. But now I'm not going to be happy anymore. I want you to frame it as a choice. You can make the choice daily to be happy. Every single person, when we wake up in the morning, we have a choice to make. We can either put our head down and kick the alarm clock over and trudge downstairs and, put a straw in the coffee pot. Or we can wake up, take a deep breath, be happy that there's air in our lungs, that we have a roof over our head, that we have a place to sleep, that we have the ability to go to bed at night and rest and wake up in the next morning. And frame that as happiness, that daily choice to be happy. And look, I'm not saying I'm never tired. I'm not saying that I never have bad days. I'm not saying that some mornings I don't wish I could just roll over and go back to sleep. But if you think about and frame happiness as a daily choice, it will help you move your perspective and your mindset to realize there are things right in front of you that you can be happy about. So instead of asking, what's wrong with today, right? Because I think we do that a lot. We ask, what do I have to do today? What's on the to-do lists? And to-do lists I think sometimes can be very destructive. Maybe we'll do an episode on that too. But instead of asking what's wrong with today, try asking what's one thing I'm thankful for today? What's one thing I know I'm going to be happy about today? If any of you lived in the AOL Instant Messenger era, right, good old AIM, you know that when you left for the day, when you came back to your computer and you had an away message up, you were looking forward to all those messages that came in while you were away. You could focus on that and be happy about that, right? One thing you could be thankful for, the anticipation of knowing that something good was waiting or something exciting or something fun was waiting was what carried you through the rest of your tough day or even the rest of your long day. It doesn't just have to be a bad day either where you frame happiness and go looking for joy. It can just be a long day. I've got to go to work at my day job. After work, I've got to go to a meeting. Then I got to go to the grocery store. Then I got to get the kids to sports. And I got to come back. You can still say through all that, you have one thing throughout the day that you're going to focus on that can bring you some happiness and make you joyful. And that's a good thing. Say, what am I thankful for today? I have a whole list of things that I say out loud every day, every morning that I'm thankful for. And it's getting to be a pretty long list because the more things I say, the more things in my brain pop up to be thankful for. And those are things like I'm thankful for, like I said before, breath in my lungs and air in my lungs. I'm thankful for a beautiful home to keep me warm and safe and dry and keep my family safe from the elements. I'm thankful for a place where I can go out and sit on my front porch and have a quiet yard where I can have my coffee and nobody bothers me. No one's going to walk up to me and steal my coffee cup. No one's going to ask me what I'm doing. There's no noise because I'm blessed enough to live pretty far from the road and we live in a quiet country town and a quiet country neighborhood. I'm thankful for the fact that my mom and stepdad and my dad live close by, that I can see them whenever I want, that they can help with the kids, that they get to see my kids grow up because they don't live far away. I'm grateful for hot water when I turn on my tap. I'm grateful for cold water that I can drink right out of my tap. So many people in this world don't even have access to clean water. I'm thankful for reliable vehicles to get my family from point A to point B where we need to go. I'm thankful for gainful employment, the fact that I have a job and multiple sources of income to keep providing for my family. I'm thankful for so many things. I'm thankful for the person in my life who always helps ground me and helps remind me of the things that are right in front of me and to be grateful and to be happy. I'm thankful for the people in my life that bring me perspective and the people I get to spend time with and the people who make me laugh. I'm thankful for all those things. And look, I could go on. We could do a whole episode on my grateful, thankful list because, like I said, the more I say, the longer it gets every single day. But those are the types of things. They don't have to be big and grandiose. They don't have to be, oh, I'm thankful I won the lottery today. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about true, genuine human happiness, about the human condition and the day-to-day aspects of just being a person walking through this wild world that we live in. You know, and I was thinking of the things I'm thankful for this morning, and when this question popped up on my live stream, when this troll, as we call them, right, guy popped in with that kind of crude, off-the-cuff comment, it made me think what we do and how to respond to unkindness. And by responding with happiness, we can do a couple of things. So my live stream in the morning has become, when I first went live on TikTok, on social media, I had no idea what I was doing, full disclosure. They were a little awkward, me sitting in silence, kind of looking at my phone screen, waiting for people to show up. I think they're all like that. But people now that I've got a little time under my belt, they have always told me that they come to my morning lives to wake up and feel happy because they are a joyful and a positive and a happy way to wake up. And so that made me realize that sometimes it's not about our own joy, but it's about how we influence others. Yes, I'm a happy person in the morning, but how beautiful it is. And I am so humbled that people will tell me they show up to sit with me in a morning live stream because that is what makes them joyful and that is what makes them happy. And I think we forget sometimes how influential our actions and our mood can be on the people around us. So there is a lot of negativity in the world. There is a lot of unkindness in the world. That's no secret to anybody listening, I'm sure. But I think one of the best ways to combat people's lack of kindness is to show them that there's a better way to live. Right? I like that. I'm going to say that. I don't even think I can say that again. I think that one of the best ways to combat people's lack of kindness, is to show them there's a better way to live or a better way to act, that they don't have to do that. And even if they walk away and they're still kind of sour, I promise that you had an influence on them. It is impossible not to be influenced by other people. Some people make us smile. Some people make us frown. Some people, as soon as you see their name in your text feed or your message feed, you just light up and get so excited and so happy. It's not something you can control. Some people have the opposite effect. Some people, you see their name on your caller ID and you're like, oh, nope, not today, brother. Click, or not today, Junior. And I do not mean my actual brother. I always pick up for my brother. I love talking to him. I meant like the brother, So there are people that will always influence us no matter what. It's a chain reaction that happens without us thinking about it. And just the same, we influence other people in the same way. So if you act happy and you act kind and you show those people that you are choosing the better way to live, even if they pretend that you did not influence them, even if they pretend that your kindness and happiness and joy had no effect on them, I promise it did. And in my live stream this morning, that guy who made that comment, I told him, I said, I was going to mute. I said, I might mute you if you keep it up. I said, but I'm going to let my followers just kind of give you the vibe of what we do here, and that the happiness is more prominent than all the trolling that you might want to do. He stayed, because I saw his username stay up in the little top corner, but he never made another negative comment. He didn't make any more comments, but he stayed and hung around to see just what we were all about. And that spoke volumes to me, because maybe he was looking to be influenced in a little bit better way. And, that's kind of a big example and kind of a crazy unkind versus kindness example. But your behavior can influence people in so many ways. A smaller way that's still really important, but like maybe a less negative way, just a way to spin it. If you have kids, you know full well that if one of your kids is running through the yard and falls down, and if you go, oh my God, wow, that was a crazy fall. Are you okay? Look at you. Like you look like Superman flying through the air, versus you walking over and be like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you hurt? Let me see what happened. Two completely different reactions. You laugh and chuckle and your kid thinks it's funny, and that like they'll pop back up and be like, oh my God, like that was crazy. Did you see that? Like I got grass stains all over my pants now, whatever it is. Versus that when you walk over and you're in a bad mood, you're upset now, you're worried, like all of a sudden they are worried and concerned too. They can't help it. They can't help it. That's just the way they are, because they know that they're feeding, or you know that they are feeding off of your reaction. So when that happens, whether it's your kids running down and falling and you having that reaction, that controlled reaction, or it's some troll showing up in your life where you say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm not going to engage with you. I'm going to tell you all the positive things about being here instead. You can change the narrative no matter what. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you with some tips and some things you can do every single day, okay? Practical tips. Here we go. I want you to start each day by naming one thing you look forward to. Do it every day. Do it. This morning I said, boom. And this morning I got super happy because, like I said, cake and ice cream tonight for my kids' birthdays is happening tonight with all the grandparents. So I'm super stoked. That was bang right off the bat. I was like, oh man, I'm happy. Like instantaneously, super excited to look forward to it. My daughter got Family Feud, the board game, as a birthday present, and we're going to play that all together as a big giant group of people. And I get to be the host, by the way. And I am so excited. So excited. That was my one thing this morning. You can also write down 3 small things you're thankful for at the end of the day. I say mine out loud every single morning, what I'm thankful for and what I'm happy for to set the tone for my day. You can do them at the end of the day. If you're someone who likes to journal, make it a journal prompt. Or if you just want to write them down, write them down. Or if you don't want to write them down, just say them out loud. And then your third tip, or my third tip, when you are confronted with unkindness or cruelty or just gross troll-like behavior, pause and ask, what's the kinder, happier way to respond? Even if someone makes you mad, even if someone chooses the ugly route to be kind of miserable, what way can you respond that can kind of help diffuse the situation and maybe influence them to not act that way in the future? And look, it's not a one-stop shop. You're not going to change the troll-like people in your life overnight. You know, the Karens and the Carries and the Kevins of the world, or whatever you want to call them. No offense to people with that actual name. I know Karens and Kevins in person that are quite lovely. We'll take that right back. Just put that disclaimer in there. But, all those people in your life aren't going to change overnight. But if they keep seeing you as a shining example, 2 things are going to happen. One, they're going to stop with the negativity, maybe, because they're going to see, well, this person's just, I hate their kindness attitude, so I'm just going to give up because I don't want to deal with it. Or the second thing that might happen is you might kind of influence them to be a little bit different. So as we close, my friends, look, I want to remind you, happiness is not about ignoring reality, but it's about focusing on the right things and finding joy in the small moments and shifting your mindset to be really focused on them. Happiness is possible, I promise. Not every moment of every day will be perfect, but you can always choose to find one bright spot. Even if it's one person or one event or one small thing, find it and focus on it, and it will help carry you through the rest of the day. And my call to action for you is I want you to try finding one thing to look forward to today. Whatever time of day it is, if it's nighttime when you're winding down your day, I want you to find something to look forward to tomorrow. If it's in the morning and you have your whole day stretched out in front of you, I want you to find one thing right now that you can focus on and look forward to today. And as always, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention and you listening. Please like, follow, subscribe, download the episode. That helps me a whole bunch. If someone recently asked about contributing to the podcast financially, if you would like to do that, find me on social media. My Venmo link is in my profile, whichever social media platform you want to find. You can certainly do that, and that means the world to me that this person who did actually ask, thank you so much because that's so kind of you. I appreciate you very much. Your generosity of listening and just your time also means the world to me. I hope you've enjoyed the message. Please be well and take care. Thanks for tuning in to Todd Talk. If you've liked what you've heard, please go ahead and subscribe and follow along so you don't miss any updates or new episodes. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your day.